Good morning, Salem State.
Good morning.
Oh, come on. Louder. Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. How many are feeling a little stressed? Good. Oh, that's. I just came back from a vacation, so this is really my first day back to work. So I can tell you, I'm very stressed out right now. So I'm going to take a really big, deep breath. Join in with me. I want to have the next few hours with you where it's all about you and very little about me. Okay, so that's what I tell people all the time when they're building new websites and when they're doing social media. It really isn't about you. Who is it about?
Customers.
Exactly. And it's really important to know who your customers are. So right now, who are my customers? Exactly. So it's all about you. I'm going to give you information, but the idea here is for you to interact and ask questions. I can buzz through this stuff, and then if we have time left over, I can pick a victim if they want. We can go through maybe what they're doing, and we can dissect it. But really, it's your few hours here, so let's just make the best of it. Because many of you are leaving your jobs to come here, and you really want to get as much as you can. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I know there's a lot of people here. I usually go around the room. My classes are a little bit smaller, so if there's a few of you that just want to shout out, if you have a burning desire to tell me, some of you just let me know. Anybody want to be the first to tell me what brought you here this morning? Why you got out of bed this early to come here? Anybody? Yes.
My name is Jeff. I work for the Salem Chamber. I am obviously a young person, but I actually don't like social media. I'm not a huge fan of what Facebook has done to our society in terms of interaction.
Well,
but of course, it's necessary for business and marketing and get our names out there. So I'm trying to learn some new tactics.
Great. I feel the exact same way. When it first came out, everybody thought it was going to be this wonderful tool, and for some people it is, right? How many people have their family and friends and they know everything they're doing these days? Stuff you don't want to know. Right. So when I have friends that travel and they see pictures and those are places I'll never go to, but I get to enjoy. So that's like a really great thing, right? And then it's being used. I used to do classes for parents when on iPhones and social media. And what I said to them back in like 2006 and 7 is that you have to be really careful. Don't just give your kid these phones. We tell them not to get into cars with strangers. They're riding around with them all the time, right? So you've got to be really careful, and be careful because it can be weaponized. Never, ever when I said that I would think today everything that's happened in social media. So I, like you, really have a loving relationship. So do you want to, so what brings you here is to learn more about it, maybe learn more of the positive. This is not very good. Anybody else want to chime in? Yes.
I have really great content, but I have the same 20 people liking content.
Okay, so how are you going to increase those people?
Or interactions.
And interact, because it's not, I'm not going to use this because it's awful. Right, and so how do you get more people to your social media? Interact. That's how I'm a really bad speller. Okay, and what do you want to lead with? You could lead with one thing.
I want to leave some extra skills. Feeling like the posts that I'm making aren't just, stereotypical. I want to have some creativity to my posts and some better interaction if we can with the posts.
Okay, and what about you? What do you want to lead with?
Better interaction with the posts.
Interactions. Okay. Now, is there anything else that anybody that really wanted to get something up here? Yes.
Well, we came to one seminar like this, which was excellent, about Instagram. And so they helped us immediately get onto Instagram. So maybe the other places we should go and how to get on there.
I'm going to do a real overview, and if we have time left, maybe we can drill down to one of them. But yeah.
And also, when they were talking about content, I'm a really good writer, but I'm still not sure what they want out there on social media like that. I'm on Instagram, but I don't know what to say exactly.
Well,
that's the best thing for business.
Okay. Is there another? Yep.
Okay, learn a little bit more about the changing algorithms.
Right.
How do you use that to your advantage?
Yeah, and that's yeah. Yes.
How to differentiate yourself among other people who are in similar businesses.
How do you stand out?
Right.
Okay. Yes.
My name is William Watt. I have a small startup company called Autographs. And I'm trying to reach out to 35 million devoted weekly lottery players in the United States. So I'm trying to see if I can draw more people to my site and learn about it.
Okay.
Especially after the Powerball.
That's real, and you know what's great about that? He's very specific about what he wants to do, right? That's great. Go ahead.
I'd like to understand the demographic, psychographic profiles of each of the different social media channels so that I can make sure that I'm leveraging the right ones for my right audience.
Yeah, great. Yes.
And get the right people out of the overall.
The right people. Who are the right people?
Yeah, what are the right, like for instance on Instagram, what are the right hashtags to use? Because I just sort of put them on there randomly, I'm not sure.
Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Great. Anything else? I'm not standing where I'm supposed to be. Yes.
I guess technically how to use each one, like how deep can you go into a certain social media app, for instance, like Facebook or Google Business, like how effectively can you use it technically? We know what to do socially, maybe who we want to reach, but how effectively are we knowing how to use it to boost what we want to do, to get better views, or to get more response, to go in on the infrastructure of what it is, just background of just typing in something, what actually to do and how deep.
Okay, I hope I can answer that one. That's like a real deep dive. Yes. One.
Yeah, he's right. Each social media site has its own things, like features and stuff.
Right.
And how do we take advantage of those features?
Okay.
It just seems like almost overwhelming. You go so far into it, and then it's like how much farther can I go into it, or what do I have to do, or this and that. Maybe that's not. Maybe you're.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, let's just get in it, and then, yes, go ahead. I'm kind of
The idea of branding and how important is it to have that branded across?
Very important, and we're going to talk a lot about that, right? A lot about that. Okay, let's do a deep dive. So, let me tell you just a little bit about myself, just so you know. What you don't want to do is you don't want to monkey around with your social media, right? And when I first started the business was doing websites years ago, it's very similar. Oh, I can get my cousin to do it. My son is available. I can get my nephew. And then what happens? They disappear and you're stuck. I have met more people that don't know what their passwords are. They can't figure out what their emails are associated with their social media. They're not sure what's the difference between their business page and their personal page. So you really don't want to monkey around with it. And I think that we answered those questions, what brings you here, what you want to leave with. And it sounds like what you're trying to achieve is just get a handle, wrap your arms around this, and figure out the best way to leverage it. That sounds about right? Does anybody feel like they're doing it really well? Oh, come on. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. I mean, because you can't it's like, you got to dive in. It's kind of like jumping into the water. It might be a little bit cold, but once you get in, it's not that bad. And then all of a sudden you start swimming. Oh, well, I can do this. You have to start somewhere, right? Because everybody's in the same boat. Look, I just asked a question and nobody answered their hand. So we're all in that same boat, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about that. They talked a little bit about the fact that I'm a constant contact. I'm certified in it, and let me tell you how I got there. When I started my business, when I left Boston University, I was the director of training communications in the Office of Information Technology. And what made me leave is I actually had a fire in my home. And what I learned from that is if you don't have any place to live, you can't work. And I wound up negotiating a package and left there, and wound up getting my son's last 2 years of college, and I wound up leaving. And I spent 2 years building back my house, and it was probably one of the most humbling experiences, but I have to say, I'm a very fortunate person, because what I've learned, it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. Bring it on, okay? So the fact of the matter is, when I left, I'm done with my house, and I go, who's gonna hire me now? What am I gonna do with the rest of my life? I'm still young. And I wound up getting certified in social media strategy, because I knew with all the internet and the network that something big was coming. I just wasn't sure what it is. So I went out and I got certified, and I have a little place up in Algonquin, and I started knocking on little doors, bakeries, restaurants, and I said, I do this and I do that. Oh yeah, come on in, I'll hire you for. And I noticed they were all using something called constant contact. So I went back and I learned about Constant Contact. I said, wow, this rocks. I'm going to use it for my business. I started using it for my business, and then a certification came up. I got certified. Then they started asking people wanted to go out and teach on their behalf, and I've been teaching all my life. I said, yeah, and it was a really great marriage. And so I've been doing that. And along the way, I've helped other people really optimize their email and their email marketing. So what happened is along the way, as I got certified, I became a local expert. And lo and behold, I'm winning awards, which I didn't know. I was away on vacation, and I came back, and 4 of my clients had used Constant Contact so well, they gave me the award that I'm going to give it to them as well. So that was great. And the other thing I found, so now I can help people out with their social media and their email marketing because Constant Contact kind of integrates it. But there was something else I found was going on. Most of their websites were horrible. I mean, horrible. So, back then, oh my God, you needed 4 or 5 different applications to put together a website, right? Well, I was at a conference at Constant Contact, and I met this company called Duda. Anybody ever hear of Duda One? Duda Mobile? Duda Mobile is a mobile-ready platform. And the guy gave me access, and he said to me, I bet you can build a website in a couple of hours. I said, I think you're crazy. And he says, give me access to it. I went back to my room, got a couple of glasses of wine, sat down, and I built a website in a night. And I said, oh my God, I'm thinking of all these people. So I became a Do the One partner. And if I have time, I can show you some of the websites I built. So that's kind of what I did. And I did it all basically looking, and it was all trial and error. I did not know what I was going to offer people, but now what I offer people is social media and email marketing strategy and websites for small businesses. So that's kind of what I do. Now, if you leave here with nothing else today, nothing else, if there's one thing I'm going to tell you, if you don't define your brand, someone's going to define it for you. Anybody have that experience of what that means?
I mean, I'm in direct sales.
Yeah.
So people make their own opinion. And so you need to kind of differentiate yourself from that and make your own brand and educate, right?
Absolutely. And in addition, it's going back to like the technical, is that how many of you have bricks and mortar businesses? Of those bricks and mortar businesses, keep your hand up. How many of you claimed your Google and your Yelp pages? Great. And how many of you, once you claimed it, if people go and post, you get that post? Has anybody had that happen? Right. I can't tell you how many businesses that I went into and they had not claimed their business, Google, Bing, all of those, because in Yelp, how many have your Yelp pages? Yeah. Why are those important? And why are those important? Why is it important to claim those? Why is it important to claim them?
I believe Yelp is a business like a Yellow Pages. Is that correct?
It's actually taking, I don't think it started out that way, but if you look at trending, it certainly is taking the place of that. Right. But it's a branding, right? So let me give you an example. I've had a couple of clients, one in particular, that said, I'm not getting any business. I don't know why I'm not getting any business. I mean, I Googled her name. Oh my God. I Googled her business, and the first 3 things that come up were awful things that were said about her business. And I said to her, have you ever looked at your Google page? No, what's that? What do I do? So we looked at a Google page, and they had things that were like, you shouldn't be saying. So the first thing I did was we claimed her business page. Then I went to Google and said, these are inappropriate. These are totally inappropriate, and they shouldn't be on there. Because one of them were actually like filthy words, right? So immediately that went down. Immediately. Then the second one, we had to actually write to them, go to another place, because who's ever found anybody on Google? Talk to anybody on Google? The only time you talk to people on Google is what? When they want you to spend your money in advertising. Then they'll talk to you. Other than that, you're not going to hear from them. We wound up getting both those things removed. She had it up there for several years. So all I'm saying is that if you don't define your brand, people are going to define it for you. Does that make sense? Yeah. So what I say is there's 3 major shifts that have gone on. Back in the day, it was, those lucky people. They got Oprah to wear the jewelry, and they wound up making, $1 gazillion. Or what about lucky? It's not that anymore. Social media has really leveled the playing field to the few, the lucky few, to the persistent. If you come up with a system, and hopefully I can give you some type of a strategy, and you stick to that strategy, and you're very specific about what you want to do. We're not going to throw the spaghetti on the wall anymore and see what sticks and say, oh, that's good, let me do that. We're going to think about what we want to do and be strategic. And when we are, we can measure the results and move forward. Whereas if we're not doing any measurement, how do you determine whether you did something well or not, right? The other one is this idea of the big stick. I'm going to go out there with this big stick and I'm just going to get as many people as I can. Well, that might work, but really what it's about, some of you kind of alluded to it in this, it's the idea of targeting your audience, knowing who they are, knowing the product that you have and who wants it, and then going to find them. And there's no better time than right now, because there are tools out there that can help you narrow those lists. So if anything, and I'll talk a little bit about it with as you're putting your categories together, is it's very important to know who your audience is, right? Does everybody feel that they have a really good sense of who their audience is, a demographic? Can anybody tell me right now? Well, we know that they like to gamble. Go ahead.
How do you narrow that down to?
Well,
people like to gamble, to have mobile phones, you gotta narrow it really down.
You got to narrow it down. So, and social media will help you with that. And so will going out and researching. I'm sure if you go to the state treasury, you have some demographics there in terms of the age group, the gender, where they live, right? Then you go into Facebook and you find all that and you start pushing it out. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the last one is, it's not a sprint, and I've been there. I get clients that go out of the gate, and then they come back 2 months later and they go, I'm exhausted, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's something you have to figure out and do in your schedule. So if you're not going to hire anybody to do it, you have to take the time to do it. And if that's once a month, where every morning, on a Monday, you get up the first Monday of the month, you have a calendar, you plan it out, you schedule it, and then the only thing you have to do is make sure that you're responding and engaging to anything that's scheduled or sent out. Does that make sense? So it's really more about, right? It's this, because you're going to burn out very quickly. So back in the day, we're going to talk a little history here. Those bricks and mortar stores, right? How many people have been in business before social media? Great. And what kind of marketing did you use? Direct mail, newspaper, referrals. So what would happen, it was all about getting people to come into the store, right? Getting people to come into the store. And it was somewhat expensive, right? And the thing that I always often ask, how many of the people that came into the store did you know they came in from one of your advertising? Yeah, you didn't, right? So you spent all this money, but did you have a coupon that they could cut out of the newspaper? Oh, it came from the newspaper. Or when you walked in, did you say, oh, how did you find me? And then keep a list of how they found, right? So it was all about getting people in there, right? Today, it's a little different. Social media makes it different. It's more about, what are you going to do when they leave, right? So it's really about all those people that are now part of your community and use your services. What are you doing to engage them, to reward them, to make them so excited that they go out on Google, or they go out on Facebook, or they do something and say something about you? Anybody?
I mean, we ask for reviews like we ask for referrals.
I guess, but I think my feeling is that, and when you get those referrals, what do? You do what?
You convert them.
Or my feeling is, when somebody does something for you,
You reward them.
you reward them. I mean, when I started in that bakery and I was trying to get people in the door, I would do a little video. Do you want to do a video or a recommendation? You get a free cup of coffee. A free cup of coffee? Sure, I'll do a video. You know, what, are you kidding me? So, you know, so I started doing them and I'm putting them up on our YouTube channel. If you go to Algonquin and type in bakery, that the bread and roses is going to come up. You type donut, you type muffin, you type anything, it's going to come up. Why? Because I did that about 8 years ago, and what's happening is all that search engine optimization, all that stuff keeps bringing them up, and they just have to ping a few things and they get a ton. Because why? It was a marathon. And over time, it's going to build up. And like anything, it's a numbers game. If you have 100 followers, what's going to happen? You're not going to have a lot. You have 10,000 followers, now you're talking. It's always about the numbers game. All right, so, and back to the funnel. So as people leave your store, you want to make it easy for them to find you, whether that's bricks and mortar or whether that's on a website. How easy is it for them to find you? And once they find you, ping you or knock on your door or do something, what are you doing back? Is it a country you heard from, right? So do you do anything? Do you say thanks for coming? Do you give them anything? All those folks out there that are using constant contact. When someone joins your mailing list, do you do an automatic email giving them some incentive to come into your shop? And when they come into your shop and buy something or interact with you, do you reward them by saying so-and-so just came and bought something, give a picture, show it on Facebook or something?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Good. So basically, what you're doing now is that is the new word of mouth. So back in the day when we talked about, yeah, people come in, they call up, they say, oh, I got this great service and you need to go. I just got my hair cut, and call my mother. Oh, I think I'll go. And my sister goes, and the next thing you know, there's 4 of us sitting in there. We're all getting our hair cut, right? So that's kind of what you want. That's social media, is that new word of mouth. So, and when you think about back in the day in the wild, wild west, when you came in, I just watched this old flick, and so that, you know, they're coming in, right? And you see, oh, that's the baker. Oh, that's the saloon. Oh, that's that. Well, social media is very much like that, right? Is your shingle hanging out there? And so as people kind of float by, they see it, and then when they kind of engage with it, are you there? Right? I mean, I was away on vacation. I had something out, but it's very hard because today everybody wants it now. So you have to also have an expectation, right? Oh, thank you for coming to the place. We'll get back to you in the next 24 hours, 48 hours. Gives them some type of expectation. So engagement is the new word of mouth. And I love this screen because what it shows is that no matter, you know, you can be in Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, have something. But when you use them together with email marketing, it's extraordinarily powerful, because I can stand here today and not knowing any of your businesses, I can say assured that the people that you have in your email list do not match the people that you have following you on social media. Who wants to challenge me on that point? Right. So if you're working your social media, all it is, and you're ignoring your email contacts, that's not good. Right? So you kind of put them together and it makes it much more powerful. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. So let's talk about its impact. So how many people feel that they've made a purchase based on a comment from someone they know on social media? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, me too. So and how many are more likely to buy from a brand that's very active on social media? Okay. And let's raise our hand. In the last week, have we bought anything on Amazon? A love-hate relationship. And I have to tell you, I have a grandson who's 7. I had to take off my you know, you have a one-click buy. All of a sudden, all these packages started coming to my house. And my 7-year-old grandson is like, oh, Mimi, I didn't know. I said, you knew better. So I had to take off my one-click on it. So yeah, not that one. But yeah, I mean, scary. So how many have gone on social media and written a comment or liked something for a cause they really believe in? Yeah. If you have a cause that you believe in, if you have a bricks and mortar, if you're in a community, I can't tell you how important it is to partner and let people know that you have a cause. So one of the things I have on my website, it's not really a cause, it's a passion. I love to teach, so I teach at the Center for Come on, Doreen. Women for Center for Women Enterprise, and it's for women that are starting up their businesses. So I go and I do some pro bono work there. I also do some teaching, and I meet with clients, and that's because I feel like I really want to be able to share my experience with people and help them out. So I can talk about that, and somehow that may resonate with someone. So that's really cool. I might want to work with her. So it's really about sharing your experiences and your passion, because you're going to find other people that share that and may want to do business with you because of that. Does that make sense? So people always ask me, what is social media and how do you explain it? People get it. And I found this and thought it was like the cutest little way of explaining it, right? So if you think of, does everybody know what Foursquare is? Foursquare is an app that you can check in. So it's all about a donut, right? So Foursquare is saying, oh, I'm at the donut shop again, where, Facebook is, I like donuts. Where you have YouTube is, I'm eating the donut. Where you have funny videos saying, look at this funny video of all the Dunkin' Donuts. I guess sound, it's a SoundCloud. Here's me eating the donut, Flickr. Here's my photo collections of me eating my jelly donuts. Vintage. Oh, I have a vintage picture of an old, jelly donut or a cup cruller. Hey, I'm eating a donut. That's on Twitter. So you see what I'm saying? So it's giving you an example of how each social media presents its topic, right? And in this case, it's, go ahead, you have a question?
Will you be providing these slides?
I will be providing these slides. I'll be happy to. So here, who invented the donut? Wikipedia. How many people go to meetups or go use Meetup? Meetup. Here's where you can go to buy, have a donut meetup. So so this gives you a sense in a context of what these things are doing, right? I'm not saying you have to be in all of these, because most people have a nervous breakdown if they were on all of them, right? I mean, chic is creek is, how can you get any work? I mean, you're so busy doing this. So you have to really know what do you really have to know? Your audience, your audience. It's not about you, it's about your audience, right? And a lot of people have a hard time with that, particularly as they're putting their websites together. So here's the best thing that I can tell you. Your advantage is that you have your own authenticity. You have your own story. Why do you think all of a sudden Facebook and Instagram, which is kind of one and the same, but all of a sudden it's all about your story? It's not your story. It's your story about your business. And everybody in here has a story, right? And I bet everybody that has that story, there's people out there that would go all of a sudden resonate to that story or say, wow, I really want to do business with that person. So it's about storytelling. And in here, because you have authentic connections, and many of you that have bricks and mortar, you already have a community. You're in a community. So bless you, how are you leveraging that community and also giving back to that community? Because those two things with social media go hand in hand. So people ask me all the time, like, what's the value? What's the value? And one of the things that I love about being a Constant Contact partner is that they give me access to, they have over 650,000 users, and they're constantly doing polls and surveys. So they ask and then they can come back. And so one of the things they came up with is this idea of, how do you measure your value? Now, I spent $100 on a Facebook advertising. I got 10 likes. So what's that a like? $10, right? Man, that's flipping expensive, right? And do you think those 10 people out of any of them might, decide to buy? I have no idea. So that was that. And then I thought, well, the thing about Facebook, and this is the other thing that I have it in my head. You don't own Facebook. You don't own Instagram. You don't own any of these platforms. If you build your whole life around one of these platforms and the terms of use changes and you're going against that terms, what happens to all those likes and followers? Gone. I have a guy I'm trying to get up in Maine. He uses only Instagram. He says, oh, I gave up my website. I gave up this. I do everything on Instagram. And I'm thinking, and where are all your followers? Oh, they're all on Instagram. You mean you have no emails? Well, if they become my client, I do. All right, that's a strategy if you want to live with. But we have no idea. How many of you trust these companies? So Google, which I have is that It's on the cloud. My life is on the cloud. How many other people's lives are on the cloud? Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, we don't own that either. And that anytime they can come in and remove it. So so why, what am I saying? Saying you should all have a website. Why?
You own it.
You own it. You pay for it, right? You pay GoDaddy or whatever. I pay GoDaddy, right? So, and I have it for 5 years. Don't get cheap and do it for 2. You know why? Because search engines say, what? 2 years, you already don't know you're going to be in business. Why would I put you in the top of the search engine? So the more you can put so if you go to GoDaddy, they're going to, first of all, they're going to give you a better price if you do 5 years. Do 2 years, it's going to be more money. But all these little things that the search engines look for, that's for one of them. 5 years. And then you pay for it up and you own it. And then all that content, you own it. So that's really, really, really important. So getting back to this, your size of your email list, you want to take that, and then you want to take out all your friends and family, and you really just want it to be your contact list for your business. Somebody that has done business with you or is a prospective, you want to add them up, and then you want to divide it by your average price of your service or your product. That is the value of your list. Now, my question to you, go ahead. Yeah.
A question about, Google. Do they know the length of your registration or the length of your contract with a GoDaddy in terms of the longevity of how long?
They know. I'm not sure technically, but all I know is that as they're looking in the search engines, they see whether you have a 5-year, 2-year, 1 year. I don't know how they know that, but it's part of that algorithm. It's not Google. It's only your website. It's your website in terms of your domain name.
So it's the registration of your domain name.
Exactly.
Not necessarily your hosting provider.
It's your domain name. It's not your hosting for your website. Yeah, it's your domain name. Right. And your domain name is really important because when you build your brand, you're building it from your domain name up. Right. So and also I noticed a lot of people use Gmail. You know this, you can use it as an alias where you can have your domain name. So mine's Doreen at nicastroconsultants.com, but I'm actually using Gmail, right? Right away you can tell if somebody, like my son tells me, he's in technology, Mom, you gotta vet people. You gotta vet them, you gotta see if they're real. There's really nobody real on the internet today. You gotta make sure you vet them. I said, well, how do you do that? Well, you go here and then you check to see if they have their email, and if they're using a Gmail, they might be sketchy because they don't really have a company name. Right. So, and then you go over to LinkedIn and you make sure they're there, and then you check to see if they have a picture, and then you go back over to Facebook, and then you see if that Facebook has the same. I'm like, and I keep in the spreadsheet. It's like, oh my goodness. But this is what we're dealing with in terms of if you have millennials as part of your audience, you better be out there in a really strategic way because they do this like we brush our teeth. Right. So I'm looking for something, and by the time I'm looking at it and decided, he's already purchased it, and it's that one click. So yeah. So anybody have an idea of what their value is? Anybody do it? Anybody want to guess?
I was just gonna say, I mean, on a whole business, and you can sell any example value for Instagram following. So the email list, I think you're pretty spot on average price for your consumer times the number of leads on your list, but they also look at engagement on your list.
Yeah. They do. And then if you're not, and if only you're using Gmail, you can't show them any engagement because Gmail doesn't track that. You taught me something today. What's your name? Kendra, thank you. I didn't know that because I've ever had the fortune of selling a business, but that is really a powerful, because I've worked with people that want to be authors, and what's the first thing the publisher asks them?
How many people are following that engaged?
Exactly.
Because when you want to make a transition, if you're selling, they actually put a monetary value on an actual sales sheet.
Yep.
On assets now.
Yeah.
Even if you can this by
Right. So that's a huge shift. Now that's how social media and technology has shifted our landscape. So all the more reason to be using a product that keeps track and organizes your contacts. So when you can open that up and show them, well, I have 10,000 followers and I have a 55% open rate. And every time I send something out, I have about 25% of them wind up going to my site. Oh, and let me show you from those 25% on the site, let me show you my top 10 sales, right? And then we look at it and it seems to be the same people. Well, what do you do with those people? Huh?
Keep reselling to them.
Well, that's one way, is that keep rewarding them. Keep rewarding them. So I worked with someone she was only doing social media. And I said, well, what's your mailing list? I don't know. Well, let's put it in a spreadsheet. 10,000. She hadn't emailed them in like a year and a half. So we cleaned it up. She lost a lot. And I'm like, that's okay. Why is it okay that she lost a lot? Because they're dead weight, right? So clean it out. So we sent out what I called it the wake-up call. Hi, we just renewed our site. We have a new site. We have a couple things going on. A lot of people, unsubscribe. But she's in a business in equestrian jewelry. So she has, first of all, very wealthy people, because I don't know about you. Any of you own horses here? I don't own a horse. All right. So right away, she's got a good, and they were engaged. And she, in the fourth quarter, we turned her business around and she wound up making 25% more money from last quarter, than last fourth quarter. Why? Because she strategically looked at that 10,000, culled it down. We put it into different lists, and we didn't send the email out to all the lists. We sent them out individually. Then we could see how they performed. We could see how many people opened it, how many people actually went to the ad, how many people actually went and purchased something from her. That's what you want to be able to do. So here, it's very important to think about your lists and to organize them in a way. And why do we want to organize them? Why do we want to put them into different buckets? It's a way to target. So if you think of you own a pet store, right? And you have one big list and you send it out about cats. Well, I know dogs and bird lovers are not going to be happy with that. What do they care? They hate cats, right? But if you have your cat lovers and your dogs and your birds, then what can you do? You can just send it to the bird people, and they're real happy because they don't want to hear about the cats. So that's what you want to start thinking about doing. Does this make sense to people?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of your homework assignments, although you don't have to worry because I'll never be back to ask if you did it, is that go back to your office. If you're using Gmail, download it in a spreadsheet. Clean it out. Then go up and put it into something like Constant Contact, and then you can actually put it into categories. You really want to be able to do that. So why do we use social media? A lot of people come to me and say, well, why do you want to use social media? I want to make money. Well, you know what? Next, right? Because it's basically what it is it helps you build your brand and expand it. That's really what it does. And along the way, you're going to find people that really like you, because it's happened to me on many occasions when I'm out there and I'm feeling blue and all of a sudden I get a call. Well, I saw you this or I did that. And it's like, you need that boost because you figure, okay, so maybe I'm not getting a lot of likes and response, but people are seeing it. So don't give up, because all of a sudden you're in a conference. Oh, I remember you did that. I saw you on Facebook. So you just can't give up. So it's there to build and expand relationships, increase your brand, and grow your email list. And there's many different places that if you use something, so those of you that are using Constant Contact, how many have it attached to their website? Okay, keep your hands up because I have a few questions. So it's join my mailing list. That should be one of your call to actions, right? How many have it connected to their Facebook page? Okay. How many are using the text to join? Oh, kids. So right now, if I wanted you to join my mailing list right now, all I have to do is ask you guys to take out your phones, text, it pays to be social, all one word, to the number 22828, and you guys drop right into my email list. Boom, done.
What services offer that?
That's Constant Contact offers that.
Oh.
Yeah. How many of you had Constant Contact and didn't know that? My cards are up here later. Okay? No, it does not. So think about that. Of all the times now, we're all going to pass out our cards. As a matter of fact, I have something to do right now, which I forgot. Where's my little box? Oh, here it is. Put your card in there, and I'm going to do a raffle afterwards. So, but now think of it. Wouldn't it be better instead of you giving me all your cards and I have to go home and type them all in, which of course I do. where if you just all got out your phone, and if you really want, I send out quarterly newsletters, and I try to make them interesting and funny. And so please join my mailing list. How do you do that? You open up your phone, you type in the text 8828, and then you type "it pays to be social." That is my keyword. Why is that my keyword? I can type that in and see all the conversations that happened with that hashtag. Every one of you should have a hashtag, and that should be part of what your keywords are for your search engine. So if I wanted to look for your business and I didn't know the name and I didn't know you, what would be those keywords I'd put into Google that I would find you? Does that make sense? Yeah, go ahead.
So if you were looking for like a hairstylist, you just type hairstylist near Salem, or hairstylist in Salem, or real estate person in Salem. How does, I'm not doubting you, this is something new to me. So how does the hashtag overcome or overpower that, or?
It's not an overpowering. What it is that if you type in Salem real estate in Twitter, right, you're going to see every conversation that used Salem real estate. That's what it is. It's a way of so much content out there, right? How do you go looking for that content? You do it by categorization. So I'll give you another story. I practiced yoga at this yoga studio for when it opened up for 2 years. I checked in. You would put something there for 2 flipping years. I never heard a country heard from. But I loved the yoga studio and I loved the classes, and so I kept going. And all of a sudden they had this great idea. Let's do a challenge and we'll use social media. So and I'm still checking in and doing my thing, and all of a sudden like, oh, Doreen, welcome. Thanks for joining. I just said, where have you been? I've been here for 2 years. Where have you been? Right? Where have you been? And so the task is yoga challenge, yoga, the name of the business. And so now all of a sudden they're seeing, oh my God, she's been on for a couple of years. Well, I got a shout out because they didn't have anybody doing it. They had a business and nobody was looking at their social media. So now all of a sudden they're aware. So the hashtag is a way to put yourself out there, right? And so you need to know what those keywords are. They need to be either your business name or associated. I came up with the tagline, "It pays to be social," and I just made it my keyword, although it's long. Does that make sense? Yeah. So now that we got that, let's get to the nitty-gritty, right? So what we want to do today is I'm going to go through and show you the social media sites. When you leave here, what I'd like you to do, if you haven't done it already, is you're going to pick a social media site, you're going to set it up, and you're going to announce your presence. Now, of course, we can't do that all here, but that's kind of what I'm trying to lead you to, as people that say, okay, how are we going to do this? Well, we're going to be very strategic. Pick one, and you can only pick one based on your data of what's the best one based on your what? Your audience. Just want to make sure you're listening. Okay, and then the idea of content. How many people have used Google Alerts? Okay, so if you go in and type Google/alert, what comes up is your ability to be able to put in keywords. And then what it will do is it's a digest, so it can come to you daily, weekly, or monthly. So mine is social media and small business, social media and children, social media, I can't remember the third one. I can't remember it right now. So it's the third one that's always seems to be the hardest. So what I do is once a week, I'll go in and see what it brings me back. And then I repost some of that. And what does that do? It helps me with my content, but also it helps other people because I'm sharing their information as well. And I pick up a lot of followers that way, where I'll say this was a really good piece in the New York Times or in whatever, in a magazine. I might quote it. I might talk about how it was relevant in my business, and then I share it, and I get responses.
How do you sign up for that?
You go to Google. You go to www.google.com/alert. You have to be in your Gmail drive, right? And then you go in and you put those keywords in, and then it will send it back to your email. Make sense? Good? Okay. So, and then we'll talk about creating contact, what it means to do social media advertising, and then talk about growing your list. Okay, so let's look here. I like to do an overview because there's a lot going on. So what I'm going to do is, those are obviously the channels, the types of platforms, most of them are all networking platforms, right? So all of them, and again, it started out networking, right? And then the layers went on. So now, you know, it was like texting, and then it went to, where did it go to? It went to photo sharing, and then from photo sharing, it went to video, and now it went to live. Next thing you know, they'll be like, you know, be your bet, right? It's like, hello, where else can they be, right? I mean, it's like everywhere. So I'm just going to go through and show you. Again, this goes back to who is your audience, and based on that audience, where do you need to be? How many of you are doing videos? Great, 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 great. And are you getting any responses or likes or? Yeah. So, how many of you know each other in terms of business-wise in the part? Okay. So because of the chamber, you know. So the chamber is a great place for you to make sure as a business that when you go to a chamber meeting, the first thing you do is you check in, you make sure that you're all following each other. You come up with a strategy, like if I have something going on, the chamber is right there to promote it. And when the chamber promotes it, all the people that are part of the chamber, what do? They spread the word. You see, you're all in a community, and if your business is successful, his business is going to be successful, and that's social media, and that's why it's blowing up the way in which people practice business before, because it's different. It's different, right? Because in the past it would be like, oh no, this is my information. I'm not going to tell you this is all mine, right? And now what is it? They're giving it all away, right? So you got to get in, you got to jump in, and you got to say, I'm willing to promote your business if you're willing to promote mine. So if you're a part of the chamber and you go to events and you know these people, say to them, look at, if I'm going to like your business page, you like my business page. If you have something going on, I'll be able to share it. Use the leverage of the face-to-face, because really what it's about is it's about this, right? You get to meet someone, and then what do? You leave, and maybe you connect with them on LinkedIn, or maybe you start following the business page, and then all of a sudden something comes up and they might say, oh, I remember that person, I'm going to ask them a question, and you're already connected. So you've got to really blend it. It's not all, people do it in silos. You have to have a strategy. You should all be collecting each other's business cards, and everybody in this room should be following each other. How many of you are following each other? So that's your next homework assignment, okay? All right, so let's start with Facebook. How many of you have Facebook business pages? Okay, I ask this all the time. How many people are confused between their Facebook personal and their Facebook business? Everybody feel very confident that they know the difference and they know how to interact with them? Okay. No, the reason I'm saying this is that I think the hardest thing for small businesses is understanding this. I worked with a woman, I don't know how, she had a brainstem injury, and she owned a business. And, that was she says, I don't, when I went, I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea what that meant until I saw her social media. And what she did was she had 9 different emails. In each email, she had actually put in a social media, and she couldn't remember what email went with what social media. Mm-hmm. And not only that, she didn't realize that every person that opens up a business on social media, anybody that wants a business presence on Facebook, what do they have to have first?
Email.
Well, yeah, they have to have a personal profile. And the reason that they have to have a personal profile is like you going into, say this is a bricks and mortar store, and I own the space, right? And I'm going to lease it to you. Well, the first thing I need information about you, right? I'm not going to lease the space to just anybody, right? So, and Facebook has actually gotten much more strict after the 2016 election, because I did some campaigning, and you could be anybody out there, and it was upsetting. Right? And so now, for the first time, and I've been on I think Facebook since 2010. I wanted to do something political, and guess what they asked me for? They asked me for my license and registration, or or a photo of my passport. I was like, whoa, that's new. Now, I had to do that on many other social media sites, but never on Facebook. I do it for Foursquare, and there's a couple of others, like in Yelp. They want a business, they want something that has your name and your business, and then they call you up, they give you a code, you put it in, they know you're real. Okay, has anyone experienced that? Right, so you're real. We already know from the news that they just, I think, recently took down 500 fake accounts on Facebook. Right? And I just read an article that talked about a group of people that have fake Facebook accounts because they're vigilantes going after people that do readings, what are they called, and for people that have died, and they come into a room and so they actually wanted to out those people. So they created fake Facebook accounts with their pictures and then go to these meetings, and then they go say, oh, Sylvia, I hear that you saw someone, and that Sylvia is a fake account with a person, and then they get up and they find there's crazy stuff going on in the world. But so I'm saying there's a lot of fake. So this is what you have a personal page. You need to have a personal page, and on the blue ribbon, you have Doreen Nicastro. If I click it, you'll then see all the businesses that I'm associated with. And I can toggle between them. So if I need to go and work on the Equestrian Jeweler site, I just go to the Equestrian Jeweler, I click there, and no matter, and anything I do, I'm doing as the Equestrian Jeweler. So you have to have a personal presence in order for you to have a business page. And you toggle up at the top and the right between them. Yes?
This is what confuses me. Can the people, not you, but can the people who are looking at your business site go on and see a personal site?
No, unless you what? Friend them. So sometimes I've had to say, and it's tough because what happens is that you have to become friends with them in order to do that. So if I take over your business page and you ask me, first of all, I have to like your business page. Then you and I have to become friends, and then you give me administrative rights. The problem with that is then all my clients are now my friends, and that's not always great. Why?
Yeah, you really want to set them up.
Exactly. So in some cases, as soon as I set them up, I defriend them. They don't know it. But I have to tell you a story. I had a 72-year-old woman that never used Facebook before, and she says to me, dear, because I would do, she says, dear, I have these women, and she keeps popping up, and she says these devious things, and it's just really bothering me. I said, oh, in social media world, you can defriend them. What a wonderful thought. And they won't know, will they? Not a chance. They just won't show up in you. So, so unless you friend them, they're not going to see what you're doing. And a lot of people have a hard time with that. So you say to them now, I say, if I'm not dealing with them on a Facebook level, I'll say, oh, please like my business page. I only use Facebook for my friends and family to share our pictures. And, and maybe politics, right? I don't really want to do that with business, right? You know what? It's really hard to separate them, but you try. All right, so Facebook is good for B2B, B2C, nonprofit industries. What do you post? This is Jack's the Barbecue. You'll see through a lot. The great thing about Facebook is you can post almost anything. But let me tell you a little secret that I found out, very much like the woman in the back of the room who just said I had something to say, and I'm like, no, stand up and say that again. What did you say? And this is that Facebook doesn't want links. It doesn't like links. Why doesn't it like links? Why doesn't Facebook like links? They want to keep you in Facebook. So so what you do is that when you want to post something, and they haven't done it, you kind of post the info. Then you go back in and you apply to that info with the link. They can't mess with you so what you do is you go in and you post it, whatever it is. But if there's a link associated with that post, you don't put it in the original post. You post the original post, you let it post. Then you go back to it and you reply. Oh, here's a link to go with it. Because they don't know. They think that could be anybody. They haven't figured that out. Don't worry, they will. But they haven't figured it out yet. So now what's happening is it's giving you a little bump because somebody replied. And it's gonna also show up and that other people will link. That's like my tidbit for the day. Yes.
Can you just put it as a comment?
That is a comment.
Okay.
That is a comment. I'm sorry. Yes, that is a comment. So, once a day, you know, who knows what it is. I feel like you got to get out there, and for the first 3 months, you have to have a strategy. And then you have to come back every month and see how the strategy's going. And then at the end of the 3 months, you look at it and you look at your numbers and you say, where do I want to be? I think the more you can post, the better it is, but you can't get yourself crazy. So these are just guidelines. And they're saying, I think here, one time a day or a week, you can't do it once a week. Go home. Really. Go ahead.
But when you do post, if you post something, someone else posted something else, someone else posted something else, and you start moving down the bottom of the list. So people aren't going to sit there and scroll all the way down.
That's why the once a week is really irrelevant, right? Because
Pin post to the
you
top of
can,
Facebook now.
very good.
You can pin a post to the top. So you have like one post you want to stay at the top.
You can do that. Very good. Yep. And shout out if you have tidbits. We're all here to learn.
Timing matter more about when you actually post things. So post it like first thing in the morning versus like a night time.
Great question. Great question. When to post. How many use Constant Contact and look at what do you want to talk about that?
We've kind of come down to around, you don't want to send something at lunch, and you don't want to send it on Friday afternoon, so we usually stick to like 10 a.m. on, Tuesdays and Thursdays.
There are, if you go, you don't have to be a Constant Contact user to use their database, and if you Google Constant Contact and you go to they have by industry when's the best, but my clients seem to do really well on Tuesdays, 10 o'clock, between the Tuesday, Thursday thing. Stay away from the Monday, Friday. But again, it really depends on your clients, because a lot of people, these millennials, they're up at like 1 o'clock in the morning, right? And that might be the best time to get them. Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Good. I was going to say on Twitter, they actually show you the best time of the day when your post went up.
The analytics.
So you can kind of see how your post doing during the time.
Yep. Yes.
I was gonna say, it's again, knowing your audience of when they're on. So if you are a millennial and you know that they're on or your advertising at 10 o'clock at night in bed, that's when you wanna be posting.
Right.
You don't wanna be posting when they're
At 7 o'clock in the morning.
when they're sleeping. But if you get a mom who's getting her kids off school, 7 o'clock or 3 o'clock is the time that you want to post, because they're in the car line and that's when they're scrolling their phones. So it's about knowing your audience.
Everybody hear that? Because that's so important. Yes.
Oh, when I came to the Instagram thing and they said 12 and 4 was a good time to post.
Well, I'm just saying, it really depends on your audience. There's no one set time. You really need to look, because in Instagram they're saying they're giving you data from their Instagram users, right? And they're saying, we understand that Instagram universe, that's like the time that everybody's up and using it. So that's okay. Any questions on the Facebook?
So you're saying once a day or once a week? What's
I think you should be posting 3 times a week. That's just my opinion. That doesn't. No, because going back to this gentleman Williams' point is that news feed. If you have people on the news feed, it's kind of like the ticker tape parade.
I post 2 or 3 times a day on Facebook.
It's constantly reminding too.
It's constantly reminding, and if you have like an incentive to get people to do something, put those incentives in. Yes.
Does posting on Facebook, does all this kind of on the web, does it all kind of come together? Like, does posting on Facebook help you with Google search? Like does it somehow make your search better in Google if you post more on Facebook?
Only if you have it attached to your website. Only if you have it attached to your website. See, back in the day when, did you want to say something about that?
Oh, no. You can put it.
No, Oh, you can embed all your social media on your website. You should have something called in your about a contact. I wouldn't put it in the front page because I think it's obnoxious. But if you had on, you could either put it in the about and contact, and when you go to your about or your contact page, you can go to all your social media. There's the embedding, and you can embed it so they see it. And as you're posting, it's also pinging your website, and it's helping with your search engine optimization. A lot of people can't wrap their heads around that, so I stopped telling people that. I get that, that glazed look. There's only so much you can tell people, and they're like, I have no idea what you just said. Did you have something you wanted?
Yeah, so this is a perception that I think I have that is correct, but I just want to check and see. So it seems that posts that get the most comments and likes, you'll see a post that has, 1,000 likes and 150 comments on someone's birthday, and you always see that. Versus, a higher volume of posts with, 10 or 15 likes, a lot of those other posts are more likely to get dropped off and not seen on someone's feed. So is that a correct perception that one big, strong, solid post with a ton of engagement is better than, 10 posts with?
I don't know how to answer that question because I think it's, do you have an answer to that? Yeah.
The last round of Facebook algorithm changes, so they no longer notify any of your followers of your business page posting. So you're seeing your same birthday post because you're connected on multiple levels with that person. You also have a friend connection, so they're actually notifying you in your notification screen that post is there. And you see it on your feed, then it gets bumped because every one of your friends comments on it. But there's nothing current in Facebook in the last algorithm suite to link a business page nothing there.
But outside of personal to business, just in terms of strictly numbers, let's say you have, keeping numbers even, 10 posts, each post has 10 comments. Yeah, collectively they're adding up to that same 100 comments on that one really strong post. But is the engagement, is the viewing of that post going to be, is it going to be equal?
I think it is equal.
I think
that what's happening is that if you're not connecting with that long lost friend who's wishing you a happy birthday, they're still seeing that business post.
Yeah.
They're just not liking it. So you have to be engaged and you have to be posting on your Facebook, and that's why you can't be discouraged by the non-likes. And I think that's like the millennial thing compared to like the older person thing. We weren't brought up to be liked, right? We weren't putting ourselves out there. But I think that the millennials will take down a post if they aren't liked. But what they're missing is you're still getting the engagement, you're still coming on someone's newsfeed, but you have to kind of just ignore the fact that you're only getting 10 likes.
Yeah. And
put some more personal stuff out there to make sure that your audience is still seeing your stuff. Because they're not seeing your stuff just because you're wishing them they're wishing you a happy birthday. They know that you're there all the time. It's just that that's when they choose to engage with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. In the back? Yeah.
I was just going to say, just like you said, you have to think about how you reward your customers. Engagement is Facebook's business model. So they are going to reward you by boosting your posts for more engagement. But that doesn't mean you should be posting the happy birthday stuff. Because you have to have a strategy in place, like you're saying, of brand building versus engagement.
Exactly.
The model of where you're going is the most important thing.
And the other thing is, I'll go back to my friend that had she had 10,000 likes, and that algorithm changed, and all of a sudden, that wasn't happening. And what she realized is, what are they trying to do? What do they want you to do? They want you to pay. It's kind of like the flipping drug dealer, right? They gave it to you for free. And all of a sudden, you're jazzed up and you're like, oh my God, I really love this stuff. I need some more. What happens? Oh, you got to pay for it. That's what's going on. You got to pay for it. And the thing that's such a kicker, and this is like, and I've done it. I don't want to, I think you got to be really strategic and have a specific reason, because I'll sit here and say, I've spent hundreds of dollars. And I'm very specific with my clients before they go. You got to do some people don't agree with this. Do as much as you can organically. Fill out all those, make sure your Facebook page is from up and down filled out. The short descriptions, the long descriptions, everything that you can put in there. Make sure all your social media is filled out. Your Yelp. I know I've had my clients that I did their Yelp with. Yelp is constantly after them. to spend more money on it because they said, oh, you've done such a great job. Now, if you just, do the video and you this and that, and they're saying, but I'm getting it. Why do I need to do that? You have to decide. I'm not saying it's wrong, but just get everything you can organically with you. Google everything and then consider paying for it. I mean, I'm glad you're shaking your head because you don't want to really say that, but that's my experience. It's all my experience. So basically, and look at, don't be confused, all right? So, maybe it's great. You can share your photos and you can stay in touch with your relatives that are, far away, and it's all that great. But the business, totally different animal. It's a totally different animal. Again, if we're friends, you see so much more about me. But on my business side, you don't have that business-to-business relationship, right? It's a totally different thing. And they had to throw that model on top of the business model, on top of the personal, because in the beginning, it was never supposed to be a business site, right? Yeah.
I've noticed, and some of my colleagues have noticed, that the more you put your personality into your posts and include yourself in your business, in your post, it gets more engagement than just about the business. It's more dry.
I'm gonna talk about that. Yeah, I've noticed that too. As a matter of fact, in the last 6 months, I've kind of abandoned all advertising and just talked about things that I'm doing and stuff like that because I get bombarded by it too. And I just said, again, if you look at where it's going, it's all about a story. Telling a story about your business. People want to know that. I mean, we, as small business owners, we're the flipping engine of the American economy, right? People want to hear your story. So many people that I've talked to that, women that are in business say, oh, I'm so discouraged. Yeah, you got someone in your family that's telling you to go get a job, right? Yeah, those are the last people you want to talk to about your business is your family because they're going to tell you all the reasons why you shouldn't be in business, right? So you got to wind up being in groups like this and supporting each other and finding people on social media that are going to support you through your business. And they're out there. You just have to find them. Okay. So, and then again, that'd be Twitter. And again, I think of Twitter as that quick way. Well, they changed it. It's now 280 characters. But it's a great tool for, retail, household products, entertainment, the same thing. Again, because of that feed and how fast it's always going, you want to do a bunch of, and it doesn't have, you can sit down in like a half a day and plan out a month of things that you want to do. And you can decide. And I also think it's a really good thing to be engaged because retweeting is a wonderful thing. And people love it when you retweet their stuff. And then immediately when you retweet their stuff, what happens? They follow you. Yeah. So, and I would say, again, that it's really a place where you can find out what's going on in the world just by putting in a few keywords and then just read about it. It's a great platform to be on. Okay, let's do LinkedIn. Everybody's on LinkedIn, right? Everybody? Yeah, it's real important that your LinkedIn profile be pristine and clear, and tell a story in that one. Everybody, I go to some of them and it's like that resume. Nobody wants to. It's a 360 view of who you are. You can do your own posts there. You can have video. You can tell your story. You can have as many of your businesses, make sure that they're interacting, and you could put a group together. So for example, you can set up a group and only invite your clients to that group and have questions and answers, and there's all kinds of things you can do with it. It's a fabulous. Anybody using it as a business account opposed to just a free account, do you find that it's been valuable to you? Oh, don't overwhelm me. Okay, really. So I find that it's a great recruitment tool. Great, as my son said, he worked for LinkedIn for many years. It's a great way to vet people to find out if they're real or not. Yes.
So it really only feels useful. This is a personal thing, not as a chamber employee, but as a personal thing. I've always felt that LinkedIn was most useful when you're looking for a job or when you're breaking into a new field, rather than a place to stay engaged.
So bless you.
Of all the places to spend your time.
It's whether you're going to be passive. They call it passive or active. They don't look at it as like unemployed, employed. They look at it as you're either going to be a passive user or an active user, right? And so most passive, you were just saying, is I'm passive when I have a job because I don't really need it, right?
What's the general return on investment?
you know.
Depends on your network.
Yeah.
Depends on your network, right? So I at BU, I mean, I haven't seen people in maybe 15 years, but they're still liking my posts, and I feel as close to them today as I did when I worked for them. You know, I could pick up the phone. I could pick up the phone right now and call people at BU, and they'd answer my phone. And part of that is because I'm constantly still watching them, and you know. So I have a guy. It was his birthday. I haven't seen him in every year. I wish him a happy birthday. I could call him up today, and I could ask him if he'd do something for me. And if I didn't have LinkedIn, I could call him up and he'd say, "Who? Who? Oh yeah, you worked here about 7 years ago." Depends how. Is somebody another comment over here? Yes.
Well, I have a comment and a question. The comment is that, like now, business to business, it's really a reputation. They, you know, like they say, you know, they don't know your name and everything. They sometimes go to Google, but then they go to LinkedIn, and that is the reputation. How you are in your account and stuff like that. So I really think that you don't only to find a job or business.
I agree.
They really go and see.
They're vetting you.
They're trying to see how well you are in
They want
business.
and they want to know if you're real.
Yeah, that's another, yeah, they want to know if you're real. The question I have for that specifically to LinkedIn is that, so I have my business, but then I am professionally in other parts. So I would question precisely have two accounts.
No.
Have one.
No.
How can I differentiate that?
Oh God. So.
Let me finish
Yep.
that is because my field of professional is totally different from my passion of being in business. So it's contradicts sometimes to that. And then that's how I'm trying to handle, because some people always said, well, you don't have a credential for doing business. Well, yeah, but that's my passion. So
okay, great question. And I had a client that he's a jeweler. He does technology consultant, and he's a deacon and marries people. And he wanted to do 3 different identities. First of all, that's against the law. You're one flipping person. You're not 3, right? So, you know, you've got to figure it out. And it's the way in which you approach it, right? So you might have a LinkedIn presence that talks about who you are and what you do, but maybe what you have is in that area, you have more of an Instagram presence that's based on your passion, where your Facebook is more based on your business. You see what I'm saying? But you're one person. And somehow in your approach, you have to talk about in your summary that you're a complicated individual that has a multifaceted life. And I'm going to show you it through my social media. But no, you cannot be 3 different people. Can't do it. Make sense? So the benefits here is, again, I love it, is that it vets you, but it also, it's your reputation, it's your brand, right? Like, again, if you don't establish your brand, someone's going to establish it for you. And this is a great place. And the other thing is, how many of your businesses, I forgot about, how many of your businesses do you have a business page? Consider putting up a business page on LinkedIn. You can use a lot of the stuff that you have on Facebook. Again, it's like that, you know, it's like that shingle. You want to be there. And the really great thing is that if you have a business page and you have employees and they say that they work for you, they'll show up right underneath, and it will really establish you well, because you'll have your business, you're the owner, and then the employees underneath. I've gone into some nonprofits where I've gone in and scrubbed them. And what I mean is I go in and I say, you're going to have a photographer over there. You're all going to get the same photograph, the same look. And then we're going to wind up putting the same title, the same way, all that. We're going to have it standard. So when they go to your business page, they're going to rock and say, wow, this is an organization. We did all that work, and come to find out they were a subsidiary of a bigger brand, and they couldn't have their own LinkedIn page. Yeah. So, but everybody's pristine, and half of them wound up getting new jobs. So it worked for some of them, right? It worked for some of them. Go ahead. Yeah.
My perception is that LinkedIn is more of a people are seeking you and not as much about pushing out notifications. Is that true?
I would differ with that a little bit. I think it depends how you want to use it. I think that there's so many tools within LinkedIn. Like if you get the business package or a lot of companies can purchase LinkedIn and have a seat on LinkedIn, right? Where they get more access to things than you do. I don't know how many of you ever go in and actually use the search feature, but LinkedIn is just like this incredible database. And if you think about it, if you want to search an industry or you want to search a particular job role, if you want to learn more about different things, LinkedIn in terms of the business is a great database to do that with. But it also has the ability to take a group like this, say you created they created a page and they had a group called the Enterprise Center and you could join it. It would be a way for you guys to still stay in touch after you leave here. And instead of doing it as this network, you have a group. And Leslie could be the administrator of that group and invite you all in. And then you now have a whole platform where you can begin to ask questions. So it's so much more than what people see it as. It's not just a place where you put your resume and you hang out and hope that someone's going to knock on your door and hire you. It's really a place where you can engage with thought leaders, where you can do your own blogs, where you can share things. So it's another platform, and it's just how you want to use it.
But it's not so much about pushing out information.
I think it is about. I think if you're out there and you have a business, and like before I came here a couple of days ago, I went to the site and I reposted this class and said how happy I am to be here, and I had 4 people like it that were from my business community. So I'm always letting people know where, what I'm doing. So, and I post it there. And and all of you, what I would suggest today is you check in here, and then you post it, you let them know, you can tag me, put it on your LinkedIn, and see if you get any response from anybody, right?
Yeah, I use LinkedIn a lot, and as a professional, you see other professionals, and I used to post that out there too. And they make good use of hashtags. And, you probably get into that later. And overemphasize using hashtags to reach your audience.
Yeah, and LinkedIn is some place that you want to be, particularly as a business person, because many of you, I bet in this room, I don't know what all of you do, but I bet you there's a couple of thought leaders in this room. There's a woman in the back that's already, had a business and sold it. She probably has more pearls of wisdom than I do because I've never done that, right? So she should be out there talking about that, because if she's talking about that, there's going to be somebody in the room that's saying, I want to sell my business. I have no idea how to go about it, right? I'm just saying that you need to position yourself as a thought leader or that you're passionate about something, because it's all about your core values, right? That's why I started my business wanting to do core values. Nobody was interested in that. They want to make money. Who cares about values, right? But they're important. I mean, anybody stand up here? I know what my core values in my business are. Trust. Number one thing. If you can't trust me, we can't do business, because I'm going into your accounts. It's like giving me your bank account. Your currency is your brand. So if you can't trust my ability to do it, then we can't do business. Education. I got to be smart because I'm going into your accounts and I need to know what I'm doing, right? Flexibility. I don't get nervous. You want me to do your work, I do it for you, right? I mean, I try to be steady at it even when everybody's going around me crazy, right? So that's it. It's trust, education, flexibility. Anybody know what their core values are in their business? Oh, kids.
Love, service, humility, integrity.
Ooh. Say them again louder with pride.
Love, service, integrity, humility, and innovation.
And that should be on her website, and she should be talking about that every day. She should pick one of them and talk about how love has affected her business, how innovation has affected her business. She's going to get some. She's going to get something back from that. Make sense? So everybody who's on Pinterest, I use it personally. I don't use it much for my business, but I love food. And so if you went to my Pinterest, you'd see tons of food pictures. And I like to travel, so I put a lot of my travel pictures up there. If you're in any business where you're using photography or your business is visual, you got to be on there. You gotta be on there. Just have a little, and just share, what are they talking about, how many times? Frequency, at least 5 times a week. Increases visibility, and look.
That's it.
They're no different than any other one. If you have them linked, they're all gonna help your SEO. Instagram. I have picked up more Instagram followers. I got some crazy people out there, man. Wow. I mean, it's like, you know, in the past I used to like everybody, right? You like me. Now I go and are they worthy of my like? Are they likable, right? And, you know, so lately I don't have to tell you, but I did a yoga challenge. I think I might have mentioned that. And so when I do these hashtags and these yoga challenges, and I'm always taking pictures, you get people liking and they follow. So one woman, she has Fierce and Calm is the name of her. I said, well, what does she do, right? She's a yoga instructor. You want to talk about powerful stuff? She takes pictures of her students, but they're not just pictures. They're pictures of people that have overcome some of the most awful things, sexual abuse, incest, seeing their parents get murdered. I mean, and these people in these poses, and it's a whole community out there that's out there, and what they're doing is they're trying to heal each other. I still get goosebumps, and all I did was post a yoga challenge, and the next thing I know, I have these. So now in my posts, I look forward to these stories because I look at them and I go, my life is great. I had a little fire. Like, what's that? Nothing. These people have gone through things that, how do they get up in the morning, right? When you find powerful people that are out there and it's inspirational, you're going to follow them, and you have an opportunity. Even if your business is you're selling homes, think of when he can say, I put someone in a home, they're going to go to a great school. So there's stories to be told in everything. And if you can wrap your stories around your business, people are going to be inspired by them. And here, in this particular post, this woman does calligraphy. So she's just showing her work and talking about her work, but she's also showing it. A lot of these, another client that I had was a woman who did art designs, and they were all geometrical. And what she would do is, and I'll show you, not of hers, but an idea, blank wall, quarter done, half done, totally done. And all her business comes off her Instagram. And I say, good luck, you know, over time, we'll help with that. But that's one way of doing it. So those are the different sites. Now setting up the network. Before I talk about setting up the network, setting it up, I can't tell you how important it is to have a consistent brand. And what I mean by that is, this is one of my clients who is in Medford, Mass. He's been there for 32 years. He runs a jeweler, and he didn't have a website. And he really wanted to get into the 21st century. So he was very clear. He had his own logo already. He had that picture. He knew he wanted to create a vault of all his estate pieces. So what we did was we created him a website, and then we branded him on Facebook and Twitter, and we created an ad for him. He had zero, nada, nothing. He had maybe 25 emails, because he never did it, you know, say you have email, what's the email, and that kind of thing. So we set him up with constant contact. We have something I couldn't show you down at the bottom, but, you know, join my mailing list. It's now at the top too. The site's been revised since I did this. And he now has over 500 people, and he's used it for doing events, and he does a monthly newsletter, and he's doing really well, and he's very excited by it. But the fact of the matter is, no matter where you go, you're going to know that you're at Roller, and that's really important. Does everybody feel that they have a consistent brand? Yeah, everyone? Who doesn't feel that they have a consistent brand? So that's great. In terms of what's your logo, what are your colors, what's your tagline, what am I missing? What's the picture? All those things are very important. Don't put 5 different pictures on 5 different websites, right? Have it, and also in your LinkedIn, You don't want it with your cat or your significant other or any, with a beer in the hand. You want a professional, picture. Although when I was at LinkedIn for Bring Your Parents to Work Day several years ago when my son worked there, I know it was like the funniest thing. And I felt great because all of them are like in the back of the room, the father raises his hand. I have no idea what any of you people saying. I just want to know, is my kid going to have a job here in a year because I want to renovate this bedroom? And the thing is, they're all doing really well, but he had no idea. I mean, he had no idea. But what LinkedIn, I had that, headshot. And then I went around and saw these kids. They're all in pictures of something they love. So what I did is I went and I took a yoga shot in front of the LinkedIn logo, and now that's my picture. Because I feel like, I love technology and I love yoga, and I want people to immediately know, who is she? And so, that's something you can think about, as long as if they can see you and they know who you are. So, think about it. It doesn't have to be boring, but you really want to show your personality and show who you are. So, basically, once you choose a platform, you want to make sure you set it up and it's complete. You want to make sure that you have your description, your biography, your contact information, a link to your website, a link to join your mailing list. Make it easy for people to find you, because a lot of them might be coming through social media, and you want to make sure that it's very easy for them, because all you're using, think of it as you have this big octopus, right? And the head of the octopus is your website, and all their legs. What are the legs? What are the legs? The legs of the social media. So one leg is Instagram, one leg is, Facebook, one leg is this, right? And they're all there. The interesting thing is, if it's not working after 3 months, just cut that leg off, they'll do a new one, and you can use something else, right? So think of it as an experience. But what you're doing is that when you're out there and you got someone in Instagram, what do you want to do? You want to bring them up to your website. And what do you want them to do? Well, you want them to either call you, schedule, download, set up an appointment, do something. So all of you need to have a call to action on your website, because what you're doing is you're engaging them in social media, you're drawing them into your website, and don't leave them like, they get to your website and they have no idea what to do. Well, it looks nice colors, those are nice pictures, but what do you want me to do? Call, contact, download, email? What are you asking them? Are you asking them anything? Do you have your phone number right at the top? Do you have an email that they can contact you? Do you have your phone number at the bottom? How about your address? Because what you're doing is you want them to engage with you, make it easy for them to find you and engage with you.
Do you have an email, or a website that you designed that we can reference?
Sure, I'll show you them. Yep.
One thing I want to mention too is, like me, I've been on LinkedIn for a while, on other social media sites, and they've added new features. And it's like, I'm sitting there sleeping on them, because it takes good to keep up with all this stuff. And you might miss out on the feature that you use too.
Exactly. Constantly be looking at it. So then the next thing you got to do is then you got to actually, once you've picked it, set it up. You can't just sit there. I don't know how many people I set them up with LinkedIn, got them all ready. I come back in 3 months and said, what have you done? Well, I haven't done anything. I'm waiting for someone to contact me. Okay. It doesn't work that way, right? So what you really want to do, and here's where all of you that are constant contact users, and when I talked about, well, if you only have 9 people following you on Instagram or something, then that's only 9 people. But if you have 109 people in your email list and you send it together, then you're getting more people, right? You're actually, your net is a lot broader than just to those 9 people that are following you on Instagram. So the best thing to do is create an email and ask them to follow you, give them a benefit, and then if you can, reward them, send them to a social link. Maybe when they click the link, it opens up something and they can download it, and you give them something. Wow. Or let's say you ask them to follow you, and you have something in a link that when they click that link, you have an automated email that welcomes them to your website and gives them something. Anytime someone clicks or likes or comments, it's your responsibility to draw them in, to talk to them, to thank them, right? And how you do that is literally, in this case, she set up her salon, she set it all up, and now she wants to let people know I've gone social. And when you join me, or if you click this link, I'll give you $10 off your next haircut, right? And now the great thing is, we open up the email afterwards. She sent it to 100 people. She had a 50% open rate. She had 10 people go and click, and maybe she's going to see maybe 1 or 2 people come in with that coupon. So and she can follow those breadcrumbs. I think of us as we're Hansel and Gretel, right? And we're in the place, and we want to get out. Well, if they didn't do those breadcrumbs, we're never going to get out of there, and nobody's going to find us. We're creating breadcrumbs, and we're making it really easy for people to find us. And once they find us, we don't stop the breadcrumbs. We give them more, so they'll come back, right? So that's what it's about. It's about keeping and feeding and keeping. So make it easy for people to find you, right? So again, I personally would recommend that this be in 2 places. I'm a left to right person, and so when the call to action should be up at the top, because right now looking at that, I'm not quite sure. What do you want me to do? Right? I really believe that you have to have a call to action that's right up front. This isn't a bad website. I mean, it has it all up there, basic sales, I mean, all that, gift cards, brands, so it's very well organized. But I see that their call to action to me is really to subscribe to their newsletter. Because they don't have a phone number. They're not asking me to download anything. They're not asking me to download a coupon and then go. So, you know, do you want your site to be a brochure that kind of talks about you as vetting? This is the last place they're going to go to vet you, and they found you through Instagram. They looked at you on LinkedIn. They realized that you are a legitimate business. They go to the website, and now they want to call you. Hello? Down here. Great. So somebody left a message. Right. How many of you have your phone number on your website? Very good. How many have your address on your website? Excellent. 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 Great. All right. So you really want to make sure that everything is there for them, and they don't have to think about stuff, right? So this one, yeah, this is just saying that when you're seeking out that, make sure that you connect as many of your other social media sites from your other. So for example, in here, you could, I think, put in, there's a place where you can put in here your website. The other thing that you really want to do, I think somebody talked about this has all changed the reviews, but see how you can get incentives, give incentives to get reviews out here. You know, sometimes you just ask, you know, if all they can say is no, right? But if you don't ask, they're not going to do it. They're just not, unless you ask.
One quick question.
Sure.
Before we move on. So I have this kind of pie in the sky dream of how I would like social media to work. Obviously, yeah, I want to be involved in as many social media networks as I can. Time is limited. I want to focus on the ones that are going to have the best return on investment on my time. But I also don't want to completely forget about the ones that might not be as big an investment. So does almost a type of automation or automatic sharing, you know, where I can post something, let's just say on Facebook, and it will automatically go to Instagram, and then, you know, maybe not to Twitter, depending on the length of the post. But is there something that exists that can simplify this whole process? We don't have to log into 5 different things.
Oh yeah, I mean, Constant Contact does that. They have a social post. You can connect all your social media to it and just post from there and schedule it from there.
Through Constant Contact?
Through Constant Contact. You might only have email. They have email, which is just email, and they have something called Email Plus. And then the Email Plus gives you the ability to connect all your social media and literally go in and schedule from there. There's also things called, I used to use, there's Buffer, and then there's Hootsuite. Now the problem with those, though, is that the social media has treated them poorly in that they want it native. So you got to be, you can do a little bit native and a little bit through scheduling. So you have to sit down, and what I tell people is you got to get a calendar. Get an old-fashioned calendar. Paper and pencil are still good. Okay? I get like a big white piece of paper, and have it in your office. How many people still work on paper, Let me tell you, when I did emergency management training, everything was online, and everybody laughed at me because I had my big books, and I'm like, oh, maybe she still got her big books. Well, guess what? The network went down, and I went, I got it all right here. So it's very important that you think about, right? And you decide that's not it, but you look, it should be more, but you look at the calendar of each week and say week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and you decide what you want to put in here, right? And some of it could be native and some of it you can schedule. And you figure out on the first of the month, I'm going to go in, or the second of the month, and I'm going to look at this, and you bring it back up. And you look at it, and you can decide, because if you do the Google Alerts, you can, and every month, except for maybe one, has what? Holidays, and everybody likes holidays, and all of you that are in constant contact, you should be getting emails that show you your themes for the month. And Constant Contact gives you the theme for the month. They'll tell you all the holidays, all the stupid, the national, the hot dog day, and all that nonsense. They'll put that in, but some people like that. They'll give you more stuff that you can put in, and you fill them in, right? So this might be promotion. This is education. This is fun. You see what I'm saying? And so you decide, because I'm going to show you that 20% is promotion, 80% is like about yourself, about other things, about your passion. It's not about sell. If all you're doing is selling, what's going to happen? Bye-bye. Okay. So again, seeking out existing and targeting your audience is so important. We talked a little bit about that. Let's see what we have here. So it's really important to engage. So my client that I told you about that did really well on her 25% house, she doesn't give anything away. She sent me this necklace. I got to tell you, it was very sweet. It's really not my kind of thing. But it was cute. I love cats. She knows my husband loves cats. She said she had a really good really good quarter. So when I came home from vacation, this was there. So what did I do? I put it on. I took a picture, and I thanked her. And I basically said, Horse Jeweler, thank you. Love the pin, too. She sent me a pin. And I put Cats of Instagram. Why did I put Cats of Instagram? A lot of followers on Cats of Instagram. I picked up a few actually on this. And then Show Stable Artisans, that's her hashtag. That's the name of her business. And then I put the best equestrian jewelry. I did that for her because that's some of her tags. And then I said, nice, welcome home. Well, of course, I forget. I only got 9. Right? I only got 9, but I got it by my client. But look what happened here. Direct message me if you want to collaborate. That's just a code word if you want to buy something, from me, right? So what they're doing is, oh, I see, because now they're excited. What do they have? They have an engaged client. They have an engaged customer. They think I bought something from this jeweler, loved it so much that I took a picture of it. This person jumps on and says, oh, I want to collaborate with you. Why? I like horse jewelry, and I'm willing to talk about it. Right? And I don't even like horse jewelry. Right? But I'm out there, and I did that for her. I didn't do it for me, but I got something out of it because I got somebody that wants to collaborate with me. Right? So even those little things matter. So you definitely want to interact and engage. And really what you want to do is you want to review and recommend as well. So right after, when did she do this? We did this, we met in February, right after her year, and we met with her IT consultant, and she was, I don't want to do email marketing, I really don't think it's any good. Says, well, what are you talking to me for? I'm thinking, like, why are you wasting my time? And in the end, she wound up doing it and doing the email along with the social media. She did really well. I mean, there's a lot of money in equestrian jewelry. Who knew? All these guys out there buying these women, these incredible pieces of jewelry. I mean, one piece of jewelry, she paid for my entire work, right? Entire work. And so she did a shout out during this. Knowledge will take the turn to get you where you need to be. Nicastro Consultants gave me a 25% sales boost for my retail fourth quarter of 2018 with their amazing marketing strategy and helpful guidance. So, and
LinkedIn or
that's actually a good question. It's in Facebook. Facebook, yeah. So I need to get her out there and do it on Google and all the other ones, but that's where she lives, so I was happy. Okay, so you want to be able to have that readily available. And again, we talked a little bit about this in terms of creating content. The more people, the more you're out there sharing your core values and what keeps you in business and what you love about your business, the more you share about your passions, your causes, then the more like-minded people are going to follow you, and so are those organizations as well. So in terms of creating content, what's shareable? So, again, you don't want to be all about promotion. You want to have useful information, something, so anybody in the house business, or like, again, I know he said he's in real estate, so maybe it's springtime. So maybe you want to have something about spring cleaning, or about gutters, or about something that has to do with your audience in their homes, and you're thinking about putting your home on the market. Well, you know, make sure you go through, make sure you don't have any mold anywhere, anything, you know, that you want to give them something that's useful, because if they find it useful, what are they going to do? They're going to look for your next one, right? You want to keep it engaging. Nobody wants to hear a dissertation on your business. Do something funny. Somebody came in, make it funny, right? And then if anywhere you can have a visual, a picture, a short video, it's going to be much more powerful than words are. Right? I think you only want to have a few words and have that picture. And wherever you can get something where they're emotional, I mean, that's it, right? You got them. They're going to buy once, right? But you have to do this over time. It's not something that's going to happen in that one post. But when you're thinking about your content, don't always be thinking about selling. Be thinking about it in terms of how you could be useful, engaging, and visually and emotional with your audience, and make something that they're really excited about. Make sense? And then how do you do that, right? So in this case, there are, you know, in terms of the backyard fun, Jack's barbecue video, you really want to keep it where each one of those has a picture. And believe it or not, I put this out there. This was in 67% of consumers believe that image is a very important factor when they're selecting a product. So if you have products, if you're in the jewelry business or whatever business that you're in, and it's a visual, make sure that you're leveraging those visuals that you have. Okay?
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
On that, the link, that's Twitter, correct? The middle?
This one's Twitter here, the middle. Yeah.
So where it says, is that a constant contact link? Where it says, come check out our latest offer?
Yeah.
So you can do links through the constant
Yes.
contact, so that's how you would be able to
Yes.
use Twitter then.
Yes. So, oh yeah. I need time to show you that thing. Okay, so again, this is just in ways of using it. So he was a landscape architect, smart cookie. He takes pictures of what the place looks like, before, talks about it, talks about what he's going to use, gets an interview with the client, what the client wants, and then shows pictures, and then has the after. Pretty nice, huh? I mean, all pictures tell a story, and instead of being out there promoting, all you're doing is showing off what you do without even promoting it. You're just showing off, you know? And again, going back to, we weren't taught to show off. That's the hard thing for many of us, that we weren't taught that, right? Let's talk about keywords and hashtags. And I put this up here because I want you to have the definition, is that they are both used to categorize people and posts. That's what they're used for. And it helps searchers find what they're looking for. That's why it's really important that you have keywords and you have a hashtag, because it's going to make it easier for people to find you based on those hashtags. Yes?
At a certain point, though, it does get a bit over the top. Is that like a recommended number, like 5,
No.
6 of them?
I see.
Some are like 15 hashtags. It's like, come on.
Little neurotic, you know?
Isn't there a limit?
I don't, there might be, I don't know at the top of my head. I try not to keep all those details in my head. But, you know, so I don't know, honestly. There might be. That's a really good question. I try to use 4 or 5. I can't go, and I have a friend that uses, like 15 to 20 of them. Again, I think what she's doing is she's trying to cast a bigger net as possible. But I think if you're very strategic and you know your audience, you know what they're looking for, and you know what you're selling, you can come up with those hashtags.
So the first hashtag should be the name of your business?
Yeah, it could be. Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
And so do you use hashtags just on Instagram or not?
Oh, I use them on all on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Yeah.
Excuse me, someone told me yesterday, I went to a seminar here the other day, someone told me that Facebook doesn't use hashtags.
It may not, I think what they're saying is they may not, you may not be able to search Facebook through hashtags.
Okay, but they still use them.
Some people use them, yeah. Okay, so, and you can see here, right, dogs, that was the hashtag, and you can see the number of people. I mean, they obviously don't have anything better to do with their time, right? I don't know about that, but it gives you an idea of what we're talking about, right? Okay. And I think it's just really important that you make sure that you're sharing your content, you know, on your website, your social media, it's in an email. That those are the three places, right? Because the idea is you're using social, email to go to the website to do a call to action. Isn't that right? Or you're using social media or email to go to a bricks and mortar store, right? You're using social and email for an event, right? That's unless you're running up and down the streets telling people. I'm not sure how else you'd let people know about. So you want to try to make it as clean as you can. The other thing that I would say, it's really important to repurpose content, yours as well as other people's content. So in the event that this went out as an email to his people, and he says, make a reservation, but he also repurposed it. I think he put it on, looks like Facebook. So he sent it out to all the people he knew in email. But again, not all those people in email may be on his Facebook. So he also put it on Facebook. So he's going to get double the leverage for that instead of just putting it one place. Make sense? Yeah. So again, you can share other people's content. You can comment on it. People love it when you share their content. Chances are they're going to wind up sharing yours or even following you back. So this is one where mixing small business with politics, here from Hillary Clinton business, And so how brands shape color. So there's just ways of targeting and also having credible sources, because a lot of people put stuff out there. What's the source for? I don't know. Add your own spin. I'm going to say that content matters, but what you really want is 80% valuable, 20% promotional, right? And like we talked about, you can save time with something like My Suite, or I'm just going to go through these. Social media advertising, 25% with local location. Yeah, there's some places, websites they have today where you can have something that goes out based on location. So if somebody's driving by your bricks and mortar store, they can get a pop-up on their mobile device saying, come on in, have a cup of coffee, or whatever it is, that ability to do that. So this is showing Facebook where you pick a message, you define the audience, right? So you pick a message that you had, you want to boost it, and you want to advertise. So you pick the message, it was Jack's Barbecue. Then you can define the audience. Is it men and women? Is it a particular age? Is it a particular location? What are their interests? So you can actually put the interests. The other thing that you can do in Facebook is that you can take your email list and you can upload it into Facebook. And when you're doing these type of advertisements, and what it will do is it will go out and find all the people that are associated with those emails and put the ad in front of them. Okay, so, and they don't know, it's kind of bad. So the next thing is, these are all the platforms that allow you to advertise. Believe it or not, they have some form of advertising. And then the next thing you really want to do is grow your list. And I think we talked about this, that when you use email plus social media, you're going to have 73% more engagement. You're going to have 57% more clients. And this also came from constant contact with their users talking about this. and then 39 more business referrals. That's just the facts that are out there in terms of the raw data. Add an email sign-up profile to your link. This is, I think, again, an Instagram. So you can actually, I don't know why they did that way, but you can actually make that a vanity URL. Anybody use Bitly? bit.ly. I think Bitly is a great thing to shorten your URLs. If you set up an account, it will also track those URLs and who's using them or looking at them, but it will also make them branded, so you can have a branded URL instead of constant contact one. Well, they did that because they wanted to show their stuff as well. All right, so, and then again, you can put your, see where it says email newsletter. When they click there, they can sign up. Remember, some of you, I think some of you that have constant contact doesn't know that you have the ability to put that sign up within your Facebook business page, right? So that's how you do that, and that's where they would go and join. And I would highly recommend that all of those triggers that you have in your email, that you definitely have a follow-up email automatically set up, thanking them for joining with some type of coupon or and then here's an additional pin. I think we added this. If you want to add it to your Pinterest, you can do it there. So there's all these places that you can put this link that people will go and join your mailing list. You want to use email metrics to make your social decisions. So when somebody connects with you, right, they send the email out. They have an 82% click rate. You can see here that 2 people went to Instagram, 6 people went to YouTube to look at it, Facebook. So you can see that they have a big Facebook following and a Pinterest following, right? So right away, you're starting to see metrics. So you're going to maybe think, oh, I'm going to maybe do more engagement on Facebook and Pinterest because my data is showing me this. Okay. And what you really want to do is pick your platform, start a business profile, and just go make a post. I want to say that you can really do it. We are here to help. And next steps would be define a marketing strategy. If you haven't Googled your name or your business name, I highly recommend that you do that. Look at it, see what comes up, clean it up. And when you clean it up, you evaluate it, make a plan, implement it, and then look at it again, revise it. I give everyone 30-minute phone call, so if you go to my link, you can schedule a half hour. I'm happy to do that. Constant Contact, when I do these kind of presentations, they let me offer a 3-month, I guess you get 30% off. That's the promo. And if you do wind up purchasing it, I then offer a 1-hour free session to help you get started. Anybody that's using Constant Contact already, if you come under my portal, because that's how you don't pay me. For everybody that's under my portal, they give me like 10% of it. So it's not like you're paying me, they pay me. But if any of you that are using Constant Contact, and you come under my portal and use my services, I then offer another hour. So that's like 2.5 hours if you use all of it. That's a lot. So that's it. What I do want to, any questions? That was a lot. And I have 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is somebody asked about websites. So this is one of them right here. Funny that this is a woman that didn't have a website. And I just want you to, that's her welcome. So what's the call to action? Yeah, and if they have to go looking for the phone number to contact? No. All right, and one other one that I'll show you. This is another woman that I met through the Center for Women in Enterprise. She, any of you that need bookkeeping, or she's a virtual assistant. So what she says is, paperwork is our business, assisting you is our pride. And very simple. You just go in. You can look down here. It just kind of shows, gives you something. It shows. We want to make it like really clear that most small businesses need her, because you spend a lot of time on paperwork, and she pretty much rocks it, and she's very good. And what we did, I just wish I could show you the old site. And the thing was that she had no pictures of herself, and this really shows her doing her work. You can get a free consult, get in touch. It's all right there. We also have testimonials, so you can go in and get a sense of right here. Tells who they are and what she does. So she's saying what she does, she's able to prove it, and it's very easy for you to be able to find her, locate her. And I don't think she still has her social up there yet. She does, she has her Facebook and LinkedIn. And then the last one is, this one looks similar to the, and this is one of my favorite clients. Here is a woman who was a psychiatric social worker and for like 25, 30 years, and her burning passion was to be an interior designer. Went to school, and then that idea of all in her LinkedIn was that she was a psychiatric social worker. I said, you can't take it out, just tell them what you're doing, you're redesigning your life. She had 3 goals. She wanted a website, she wanted to be in a national newspaper, and she wanted to get clients. So let me just show you. This is where she's been. And and I've only had it for 2 years. She's in the New England, a good mix. She's been in the Boston Globe. She's been in, and she became my client in 2015. And now she's so busy she can't consult with me anymore. All right, so that's it, and I have 30 seconds to spare. Yes. I will send them to Lynn, and she will, and you can have them for sure. You'll have them within the next 24 hours. Okay? Any other questions? Anything that I should do better? Oh, come on, I can take it. Make it longer. Thank you so much for taking the time. And my cards are up here if anybody wants one. Oh, don't leave. Oh, don't leave. Thank you. Okay. I'm doing 2 drawings. Don't leave. Okay, so is Doreen McGowan? Okay, so you get, and you can't open it up, but it has my logo on it. And then one more for a half-hour session. William B. Lott Jr.
That's me.
Okay. So you call me. Oh, yes. Okay. Of course. Thank you.
Of course, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Of course.
And then what's the number and the hashtag?
Oh, it's not. Yeah.